Okay, continuing on, approaching the 180 or Malmedy, and you go into the 100-meter board, and there you want to brake at the very beginning of the curb. You see where my pedals are, you see the curb coming, there is the curb, and there is my brake pedal. That's what you want to do, because again, it goes into a downhill section, sucks you in, and this will be trail braking by excellence. You have no idea how steep that is. It's so steep, it's really impressive. So you go into here, I'm still on the brakes hard, then I turn. Now a lot of people tend to go and turn right and brake diagonally towards the right, and that is a mistake. That's how you end up getting shot all the way in the gravel bed. Brake in a straight line along the curb and use a nice regular trail braking technique on the way in, and then keep the car on the nose. You see that I'm still on the brakes. I'm still on the brakes, I'm still on the brakes. Now I'm off the brakes, and actually I think on this lap I went back to a sliver of gas. Not to accelerate, but to stop the acceleration. But it's a lot of pause. See, I'm still not on the pedals. All that, I'm on neither gas or throttle, just basically coasting, keeping the front end with engine decel, but the speed doesn't go down. I just went to power now, and then I lift again. There you go, there is my lift again to turn. And now, once you see this curb, when you see the beginning of the curb, that's when you can start getting to power. Any sooner than that, and you're gonna be in trouble into massive understeer. When you see that curb, you can start thinking about it, and you see that I just picked up the gas right there and fight it, and that, then you can take, I'm full throttle, and you take it all the way out. Next, do everything early. Again, all of this is downhill. The right-hander was very steep down the hill. Here it's a little bit less steep, but it's still steep down the hill, and it keeps getting steeper as you go through. There is positive camber through the apex, but it's still all downhill. So you've got to anticipate everything a little bit like we did at Laguna Seca for turn 10. So you see I'll brush the brakes a little bit. Some guys like to just lift off and whack the steering wheel in there. I'm always one to like to do the load transfer better, so I use the brakes a little bit, point the car, and go. A little bit on the curb here, it's okay. Turn, no more brakes, don't need to throw brake anymore at this point if you set it up right. And you want to go pause, 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 and you're going to pick up the gas just about there, where the apex is. That's the picture. And we go through, and flat out, use as much curb as you can get away, make sure your hands are straight when you ride it out, flat out. One of the best corners in the world, Pouhon, approaching. Same thing here, about halfway down the curb is where you want to be braking. Pedals still on the gas. Boom, on the brakes. Was there a brake marker here? It's too far back, so it's halfway down the curb is where you want to be, and you look at it. It is earlier than one thinks. Most people tend to brake too late for Pouhon, and then they understeer in the first one, and they never make it really back for the second one. They make it, but they scrub so much speed through the steering wheel, particularly in real life. No, within the sim you get away with that, but in real life it just kills your exit speed if you do so, and it destroys your tires. So you really want to see braking here, point the car, get to the apex early. And now, if the car is right there on the apex, at this point you can go to throttle, and at this point you're not going to get understeer. Actually, at that point, the downhill kind of stops, and then it picks up again, and then it goes up. Flat out. Make sure you're precise at the second apex as well, so that you can free the car. The fine S's. There again, the best reference I can give you is the curb. The curb is too late, but the bridge is too early. So you need to be in between the two. Right here is where I should be getting on the brakes. Well, I guess not. I'm not on the brakes yet. There. That was 2 clicks off. And you see the curb starts right here. So just before the curb. I guess we can say it is the curb. Let's go to the chopper view. Just because we can. Yeah, I'm just before the curb. The bridge, but the bridge is out of sight. entry speed is king into Fagnes. So carry the brakes, carry the brakes, carry the brakes, get in there. Very little throttle, if any at all. I'm actually off the gas right here. Some throttle now. It's all about entry speed. And then you want to transition to the left and then lift to make the car point and pause, so that the car does turn. If you pick up the gas here too soon, massive understeer. So you want to go, wait, now go full throttle so that the car rides out. Again, you see, right here you have forgiveness from the compression. But if you are a little bit late with it, it sucks you right to the exit. Stavelot and Paul Frere. The curb is too late on that one. You see, I just hit the brakes just before. There again, it's all about the crest. You see, curb, and then it dips. If I go a little bit too far on the braking, I completely missed the apex of the first one, which kills my speed all the way down to the chicane. So really, really tricky braking corner. Also, because you have to time your steering just before the crest as well, your hand speed is critical and the response to your car is critical. It's very easy to turn in too early and it's very easy to turn in too late here. It's very hard to get the car yaw rate correct on the way in. A double take, then back to power, and the goal here is to be back to power very early without any understeer going off, so, because you'll be flat all the way down to the chicane. This is the longest straightaway, really. Well, Kemmel is longer, but you are, up the hill. So off we go, flat out, upshift, curb. This whole section is pretty easy. Stay to the right, there is no point of tracking out to the left. Stay to the right, it's shorter. Then go to the left here to make it shorter. Still plenty of time for you to get set up. Full blanchiment on the right and smooth hands. Scrub as little speed as you can. It's easy to be flat. Now here, most people go back to the left right away. Stay straight. Get to the end of this curve and that will toss you where you need to be for the braking. So you are straighter longer. Then you line yourself up and now comes a very tricky braking zone. There again, you see, not really uphill but flat, and then it dips just before in, then big compression at the first apex, which really upsets the car. Bring my pedals. I'm already on the brakes right here because the 100 is too early, the 50 is way too late. It really is 75, but there is no board for it. And that's where the curb is. Visual reference to the curb, and it's before the curb. Trail brake all the way in. And now here, as you see that compression coming in, you see right there, there is that little ramp. If you're still on the brakes when you hit that, the car breaks into oversteer. So just right now, you are on the brakes, and get off. The last few, against everything that I normally say, you actually need to snap off the brakes so that the car kind of bounces off. And it helps it ride the ramp. Just like if you have a speed bump on the road and you load the car and just before the speed bump, you snap off the brakes, the front end is already light and it rides the speed bump better. Have you ever done that? You should. So anyway, it's kind of what you want to do here. You're on the brakes, ease off the brakes and then snap so that the front end already rides this bump, goes turning, a little bit of gas in between the two. And actually I get to full throttle and then lift again. Very positive lift so that I get the car turned. Very careful with this curb because the first curb, you're not trying to put any power down. This one you are. So if you are anywhere too hard on the curb, when you get to power here, instant oversteer because the inside tire goes into trepidation, sends the diff into a freak, and you go out to the right. So very clean with the hands, very soft with the throttle here. See, I open up and then I turn again to then go and flat out. Now a little trick here with the Formula Renault. I found that we're a little bit too low in the gear in second. First gear is a little bit too high and you overslow the entry. It is very hard to put the power down. But second is a little too low. Funny enough, when you track out over onto the AstroTurf on the right here, it's just enough to get you a little bit of wheel spin and help the car. And it's a little bit faster if you just go whoop, 2 wheels over on the AstroTurf. And it gives you an extra boost in revs. Chopper right here, and you see I probably will do that right here. I go over. Oh, actually I don't. It's on the curb itself. It's not the AstroTurf. It's the curb itself that gives me that extra boost on revs. Very good. Okay, so it looks like I have just enough time to give you the onboard on this second video. No commentary, just go flat out all the way through. I'll bring the headset so you can hear.